What is up, my fellow adventurers? Anybody that's been around the backcountry camping scene for a while has probably heard of dehydrated meals. These are going to save you on weight and probably be a better option than the backpackers meals that you can buy pre-made in the stores, which are super expensive and not that tasty, especially if you forget to remove the freshness pack that comes in them. Blech. There's a few easy options that I've encountered over the years, tricks I've learned to make my own meals. So I thought, hey, why not put together a video and share them with you guys? Save you a little bit of learning and some money. Prepping dehydrated meals on site can be super simple. Just add your favorite fruit, splash of water, and voila, a full meal. Some of the best things that I've found to dehydrate without a lot of effort, at least, a lot of prep work and nonsense like that, are pre-made foods such as frozen foods and canned foods. They dehydrate really nice, and the blanching and everything is usually already done for you, so it saves you a lot of prep work and stuff. First thing I'm going to talk about is some canned beans. Now these are as simple as draining the water out of them, letting them sit for a minute, and then throwing them in the dehydrator on a sheet. And they rehydrate really nice. A nice meal, maybe throw some spices in with them so you don't even have to do that on site. Next thing is frozen food. Now when you dehydrate this, you're going to want to let it sit out for a little bit so that it speeds up the dehydration process, doesn't have to spend as much time in your dehydrator. And you're going to want to look for stuff that's prepped really small. You don't want big chunks of frozen food because it's just going to take forever in your dehydrator and might not even fit in there. When it comes to meat on site, you have a couple options that I like. And the first one is canned chicken. You can also do canned fish, canned anything really. I mean, most of the prep work's already done for you. Again, just drain the water out of it and throw it on the sheet in the dehydrator. And if you're not a big fan of canned meats, you can always do the jerky route. Now, this is already dehydrated for you, but you just throw it in with a meal, break it up into some little pieces, and it makes honestly a great meal. I really like the Costco steak one for adding in, kind of make it like a little stew or something like that. It's great. And the last easy option I'm going to talk about, this is more of a flavoring, but pasta sauces. Stuff like that, you can just add it in with noodles and some of the dried veggies you're going to do, and it makes a great meal. Much better than the backpackers meals. And to tie the whole meal together, we usually do something like this, just a sidekicks. These are dirt cheap. You can pick them up for a couple bucks, usually on sale, and they taste way better than the pastas and that you're going to get in a backpacker's meal, at least in my opinion. And they come pre-sauced, so it's as simple on site as adding veggies, maybe your meat of choice, and then boil for 10 minutes. You're good to go. They might be thinking they need to buy a really high-end dehydrator, but that's not the case. We got started in our dehydrating journey with this simple little 5-tray dehydrator that we bought off Marketplace for $20. And it's given us hundreds of dollars of savings back on not having to buy pre-made dehydrated meals. Although if you are serious about it, I would recommend spending the money on at least one with square trays and the little fine mats that you can get for them. Just because these ones here are harder to clean, harder to protect if you're doing really liquidy stuff. You can always use parchment paper, but for this one you need to cut circles out, which is annoying, versus a square one where you simply pull off a piece of parchment paper and cut it to the size you need lengthwise. No need to cut stupid little circles. Another advantage to the high-end ones is that they're usually a higher wattage, and therefore you're going to spend less time drying. Probably almost cut it in half. It's not a bad idea to do it during the winter though, if you live in Canada, heating season. I mean, you're heating your house anyways, so some of the excess heat from your dehydrator is just going to keep your house warm. Efficiency. Now most dehydrators are going to come with a simple guide like this to let you know which temperatures the different things need to be dehydrated at, which is great. I mean, our cheap one didn't, but a quick Google search let us know everything we needed to know. For the pasta sauce, simply lay down a piece of parchment paper on one of the trays and start pouring. You're going to want to spread this around in a fairly thin layer so it dehydrates evenly, and it's going to end up resembling something like a fruit roll-up. With the beans, you're going to want to give them a quick rinse, drain all the fluids out of them as much as possible at least, and then use a fine tray like this to simply spread them out evenly again. You want to allow a little bit of airspace between everything if possible. It just makes things dry faster. With the frozen veggies, you're just going to want to leave them out for an hour or so sitting on the counter before you throw them in the dehydrator. It's going to save you some time and energy, of course. Again, efficiency. But basically the same as the beans. Spread out an even layer. This one might take 2 trays. Try that. And you're just going to want to break up the pieces if they're stuck together and just try and get a little bit of airspace between everything. Now this veggie mix is great because it's already in tiny little pieces, so it's going to dehydrate really fast. Efficiency. And the canned chicken, all you're going to do to process it is mash it up with a fork a little bit because it's usually too chunky to go in the dehydrator right away. I know it doesn't look appetizing, but trust me, when you've been out camping for 3 or 4 days, and you throw it in a meal and rehydrate it, it tastes amazing. Again, just spread that out in a thin layer. You want to aim to be 1/4 inch or less thick. And meat's usually done at a higher temperature. Now we have some extra blueberries, so I'm going to throw those in the mix. Same process as the vegetables, just spread them around evenly. The one thing I will say about the berries, probably put them towards the bottom of the dehydrator if you're not using parchment paper, because they will leak a little bit of juice. And not everyone wants berry juice on their dehydrated veggies. Now I'm not going to speak on exactly how long these things are going to take to dehydrate for you because it's going to depend on your dehydrator and what you're dehydrating, but there are a few ways to test it that I've found. For the pasta sauce, you're going to want to be able to peel it away from the parchment paper, just like a fruit roll-up, like so. Beans are usually pretty obvious. They're just crunchy and flaky and kind of fall apart when you squeeze them. For the veggies, you're just going to want to grab one of the biggest pieces, let it cool for 5 minutes, and it should snap like a chip. If it's still flexible and just kind of bends, that means it's probably not done yet. Just give it some more time. Chicken is pretty similar to the beans, and it should just kind of crumble, which it's doing. And the blueberries, unfortunately, are not done yet. They're still really juicy. Berries typically take the longest. I think it's because the moisture is kind of sealed in by the skin, so they're always going to take some more time. If you want to speed up the process, I'd probably recommend crushing them down a little bit. So we're going to have to let those go in for a little bit longer. But when they're done, they should crush and crumble, similar to the beans and the chicken. Another great thing about having the square mats is that they're a lot easier to empty out when you are finished dehydrating. The circle ones are not so much fun. Well, there you have it. Those are the easiest backpacking meals that I've come up with, so I hope that helps you guys out. Just add the ingredients together on site, little boiling water, wait 10 minutes, and boom, you're gonna be full of delicious food. A lot better than those backpacking meals anyways. Like and subscribe for more camping tips and tricks, and get out there for some adventures of your own. They're waiting for you.